All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday, October 1st, I believe, 2nd. Might as well be the first. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to do our 4-hour sweep, do our Monday morning analysis, see what's happened, what's probably going to happen, what's above us, what's below us, what's going on, what are we looking at here. Let's just get right into it like we always do. Butt corn. Interesting. It's up quite a bit over the last week, really. I don't know why we're looking at a weekly chart here, but let's get down a couple time frames. We'll do our 4-hour sweep. Just take a look at generally just structure and where are we in the market cycle, price action stuff, what's above us, what's below us, what are our targets for the week, what are we looking for. So good game there. Last 24 hours-ish, had a good little pump. Broke a high. It's coming back into a consolidation, so this is going to be interesting as it gets back up into here. Probably going to slow down a little bit. It's interesting that it's moved back up. I would definitely watch like right here. As soon as we start to, there's a whole zone right here, really. As soon as we start to get into this is going to be an issue. Let's see. Let's just get it marked out. All right. So there's that. Whoops. I know this isn't the most exciting thing right now is at this time of the cycle with Bitcoin, but hopefully that time is coming. We're just not quite there yet. Yeah, I would expect that this is probably going to slow down here pretty soon. I wouldn't be buying it right now. It's just me personally, not financial advice, just life advice. Don't buy Bitcoin going into the halving when it's still up and consolidating. It's probably just not a good idea. And I don't mean like day trading. Day trading, it's fine. I'm talking about like long-term investments. If you're looking for Bitcoin, you might want to wait. Again, life advice, just hang out. Historically, things tend to get burnt to the ground from these kind of levels before going into the halving. I'm not even going to bother marking all this stuff out. I think it'll be interesting if it comes back down. I know some people are probably trading this. There are some better things to day trade, really, than Bitcoin, but yeah, whatever. We're kind of in a range right now, overall in a big consolidation, still distributing at this 30K. Interesting level. Right now, you probably don't want to jump into this. It's already been up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Watch the equities market. The U.S. equities market's going to drive this. NASDAQ, S&P kind of thing. Moving on. Let's get into the meat and potatoes here. We were just talking about, what kind of drugs the dollar's on. I don't know what this thing's been smoking, but holy cow, it's probably got meth in it. Let's see. We were just looking at the weekly chart here. We finally had a little bit of a rundown, but it wasn't a close. It had a big crazy pop last week. It was just brutal uptrend. This is exactly what we were expecting. If we close like this, still bullish, to run this up a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised if it retests or barely breaks that high. Like there's some stuff up here that we're watching. It just wouldn't surprise me if this pushes up a little bit. We actually expected a little bit of that. So that's probably going to be an issue. We're going to watch this. At the moment, this thing's been up for 11 weeks in a row. I think we just started our 12th week. It's getting absurd at this point. I think absurd would be an appropriate term. See, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks in a row to the upside. That may have happened in the past. Maybe not. I think we looked the other day, and I think it'd been since like 2007 or something like that, since a run like this has happened on the dollar. This is just not normal. We're in an abnormal market environment here with the dollar. It's a huge range expansion. It's come from a lower low to a higher high. It's had to travel a very far distance in a very short period of time to make this move. It's absurd. Redonkulous, I think, is the technical term for this. So what do you do with this? We're just looking to sell the high of the week every week. If it breaks that high, in it to win it. There's nothing else to do here. I mean, it's one of those things where we've been in a one-way market, and this is affecting a lot of other markets. It's been painful lately because of this dollar index. Some of it has to do with euro weakness. Some of it's just ridiculous move back up on the dollar, and it just has not stopped yet. It's not making massive moves. It had a big pump all at once last week, but I mean, we're on the high. Remember, we're 12 weeks. We just entered our 12th week in a row to the upside. Week. Not day, week. This is crazy stuff here. It's just not normal. There's nothing really that you can do about it, but understand where there may be a reaction and try to play it, manage risk. I mean, this is a risk management game at this point. I mean, with the dollar, especially with the dollar, it's a risk management game, period. But this is nuts, just nutso right here. Crazy stuff. Waiting to see if this is going to come down up here or not. There's maybe a reaction that happens up here around this 106.5-ish area. So we're going to see what's up with that. Man. Yeah. Not sure what to do with the dollar. Every time we get into it, it goes back and breaks the high. So keep catching it, and it goes and breaks the high. Catch it, and it goes and breaks the high. Catch it, and it goes and breaks the high. So still watching this one, trying to figure out what to do with it. This has been punishing gold. Gold and things like euro dollar, pound dollar, just absolutely punished. And, we'll talk about that in a second. There's not really a whole lot to say about this at the moment. We're right dead smack in between our swing high and a current swing low. We're right dead in the middle. It's not really a lot of decisions to make right here. Other than, some day trading stuff that, maybe we'll try to figure out. It's hard to say. I mean, you've just got struggling candles here. It's got a little bit of a sell-off, and it's kind of struggled to get back up. Now, what happens here is going to be the question. What happens from the middle? And it's just not really the best place to be trading from, to be honest. We're going to move on from that at the moment. Definitely going to be watching gold down here. We're going to talk about that. I hate to say that because it's gone lower and lower and lower, and every time it does, the probability gets higher and higher and higher of a retracement. So we'll come to that one in a minute. The yen index. This is interesting. Watch this one for a very important reason. However, this is at a new all-time low here. This is just burned itself down into an all-time low, basically. We don't do the trend line thing here, but just to illustrate what's happening, we've got a tight squeeze compressing down here at the all-time low on the index of the yen. This is bonkers stuff right here. This is just as crazy as the dollar, if not more crazy. It's only a matter of time. We keep catching this thing. We keep catching it, and it just won't make the big shift off the low. I thought it was the other, a couple weeks ago. Months ago, actually. But every time we get into this, look at these candles here. These daily, look at this on the daily. This looks like it's about to go nuclear to the upside. Got a higher low double hammer here. I mean, this is, it's the price action that it represents. There's very clear buying power and rejection right here. We'll have to maybe take a look at the volume. I don't really mess with volume much, but at levels like this, sometimes that can give you a good piece of information. Intraday, personally think volume's a meme, but it's my personal opinion. In a globally distributed market, you're only seeing the volume on one broker, on one data feed. And that can be dramatically different depending on, what your feed is. Where's your source? What's your broker? Anyway, won't get into that. So I mean, the yen, this is obviously something we're going to be watching here. I mean, I think it's obvious. Strong yen, anything that would be inversely correlated to the yen, we're probably watching here for shorts. Moving on, euro dollar. Same situation with euro dollar. Again, this is going to be the inverse of the dollar index. So you're going to get redonkulous, I believe was the technical term, move here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks to the downside. It's going to be exactly the same as the dollar index. I don't think this has ever happened before. I remember we were looking on Friday. I don't think this kind of a move has ever happened. Maybe not by percentage, but consecutive weeks in a row. We're in our 12th consecutive week. We've lost 7% out of the euro versus the dollar in just a couple months. 7%. Yikes. You know, this is serious business here with the euro. No, this is painful. You know, we're also in the juice here, and we don't really want to be doing anything too stupid right now either. Other than breaking this low, you know, I don't really know where this is going to end up here. Again, these are weekly charts, but you know, you're talking about going back to 2022. You know, it makes sense why it stopped here. Really be looking at this, to be honest, but you know, is it going to make it there? I don't know. We're going to watch that. Not going to mess with it at this second. Windows wants me to restart, of course. All right. So yeah, I mean, you know, as far as euro dollar is concerned, I mean, I'm only looking for longs personally, just because of the move that's happened. I mean, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff on the way up. I mean, we could probably, I mean, in its simplest form, you know, just looking at supply and demand, I mean, really, as far as higher time frame analysis is really probably the only thing that actually matters, in my opinion. Since it put in a low here, I mean, you're going to have it depends on the way you do this. I mean, you're going to see this, obviously, this kind of consolidation right there. Man, I mean, we could go down and refine this into lower time frames, which is probably what we do. I'll be watching up here first. Where is that within our range, actually? All right, so it's definitely within a range, a weekly candle to do that. Man, yeah, weird situation here on euro dollar, and we're at the same time we're really just waiting for the dollar index to chill. The euro has just been very weak relative to the dollar, and a weak euro makes a strong dollar index because the weighting of the dollar index is weighted 57% in euros. So we've had a very weak yen and we've had a very weak euro. That is the double whammy. That's the kiss of death for the bears on the dollar. It's made the dollar index so strong to have a weak yen. Again, we're at an all-time low on the yen, and the euro's been weak at the same time. That's the kiss of death for dollar bears. It's just been running and running and running. Now, eventually that dynamic is going to shift, and it's got to be soon. This is going to retrace, and it's going to melt faces when it happens. It's been tough the last couple weeks trying to figure this dollar out because it just keeps going. We did break this consolidation low, which is interesting. Kind of just taking a preliminary look here on Monday morning. So this low actually did break. It cut through everything. I was kind of looking to see what we've got here. Euro dollar, I mean, this whole thing back here. As far as demand, I mean, I would say we'll start there. God, I mean, it still looks like there's a possibility that could, I mean, I would really honestly be watching back there. God, I hate to say that. That's like, you know, if this were a 15-minute chart, I'd be like, yeah, I'll buy it when it gets there. Then you fast forward and we're nowhere near that. That's going to be below the low. Man. Yeah, so at the moment, you know, and again, this week, it doesn't mean it has to do it this week. Is that within a weekly range? It is. Magically, just so happens to be. Your projected low of the week is right there on that level that we were just talking about. Must be a coincidence, right? Yeah, so this is sketch right now. Man, yeah, I don't know. We're just kind of right in between our effective trading range, our swing low, and our consolidation here. Um, what people would call supply. We're just kind of right in the middle of that, potentially contracting. So we'll see. We got a lower high. This thing is so low, you would expect a higher low. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it at the moment. We've got a large range here. We'll come back to this. Just going to kind of set up what we're looking for on the upside and on the downside and below that. I mean, it's going to be, down here, and we'll take a look at that. That would be, if for some reason that were to happen, I would hate for that to be that way. But I mean, you're talking about a pretty decent run here as far as pips are concerned. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a very high probability situation right there. But it's going to be, later in the week. I hope that doesn't happen. Actually, I'd like for this to go up. It'd be better for it to go up. But say euro dollar makes it all the way down, we'll take a look at it down there maybe. Interesting. Moving on, euro pound. Same situation. Stuff has happened since Friday, so we'll just go ahead and mark this stuff out. Nothing's changed on our low. We never made it down. Did bounce a little bit in some demand right here, just pretty standard stuff. So we'll watch this on the way up. Yeah, we never cleared that out up there. Just kind of trading in the middle, trying to figure out whether we should be long or short either the euro or the pound versus something else. We got to figure out what euro pound is doing to figure out whether or not we should take euro based pairs or pound based pairs in whatever direction we're looking to take it. This is part of the big picture. It's a key part of the big picture is euro pound. I don't actually trade the asset itself much, but it's good for analysis. It's a very powerful analysis tool to understand what euro pound is doing. All right, so euro yen, moving on. Again, the yen's at an all-time low. That's important to understand. That's definitely something we're going to be looking for a retracement coming up. We've just been rejecting in supply here. Could probably refine this down a little bit on lower time frames and figure out exactly where we are, what has not been tagged yet, who's been correct in the move and not been taken out at break even. That's a key secret. Who has been correct and not been taken out yet? Let's see, euro yen. Yeah, I mean, given where the yen is, likely to at least retrace a little bit to the upside, you probably want to be looking for shorts here. I'm not going to start selling red candles on this in a distribution. However, probably want to be looking for some shorts this week on stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see whether the euro is going to be weak enough or not. That's going to be the question. But you're going to see a similar kind of pattern here with the yen stuff. They're all going to be looking like they're ready to go. Euro Aussie, man, this was great last week. This was one caught like right on the bottom. It's not on here, but same situation here. I mean, this came right back down into exactly where we expected it to. This point, just in its simplest form. This no strategy stuff here, but just in its simplest form. What are we looking for? What levels are we going to watch for confluence and reaction? Just keeping it simple here with the higher time frame analysis. We'll see if we tag up into that. It hasn't been resolved yet. Got a lot of sellers were correct up here and haven't been taken out yet. We'll watch them for their buy side liquidity to fill our shorts. So Euro Aussie, probably going to be waiting to see if it'll pop up just a little bit more, and we'll see. I mean, there's not really a lot here yet. It's been pretty dense, like tightly compacted. I'd like to see this go up, to be honest. Again, we're talking about looking for day trades. I'd really like to see this run up a little bit. It's definitely got room. If it breaks the low, we're going to be looking to buy into it. If it breaks the swing low back here, it's definitely going to be a long. So we'll see once it gets up there. Maybe not perfect yet on that. Yeah, it was this one, Euro Kiwi. I was saying it was one of these. This was just ridiculous the other day. Got it within the spread. Crushed it. I think it was on Friday. Yeah, this was a ridiculous trade. But it was projected low of the day, right at demand. I mean, it was a ridiculous trade. I closed mine out. Mine closed with the basket. I hit target the other day. I hit target on Friday and just didn't get a chance to get back in. It was, I think, pound Kiwi, pound Aussie, and Euro Kiwi. So back to the 4 hours, but that was an absolute monster, and it's still going. This still has a lot of potential to go. I'm just not going to start chasing it now, but that was just money murder. Let's see. So, Euro Kiwi. What are we going to do here? Again, in its simplest form, you're going to be watching stuff like this up here. There's going to be a whole zone, whole big range of mess up here. When we get there, we'll take a look at it when it gets up there. Other than that, I mean, we already know what we're looking for above us and below us. Nothing really has changed there. We'll watch this level when it gets there. Just see what happens in here. What lines up as we get back up into this consolidation. And as far as the lows, we already know what we're looking for all the way down. Nothing really to do there. Nothing different, at least. Nothing's changed a whole lot here since last week. We'll just watch on the upside. It's moving up off the low. It's lifting up, so we'll see where this starts to slow down up here. Honestly, you would still want to be long on this. But good game. We'll come back to that. Coffee timeout. 1 second. All right. So Euro CAD, same situation. I wish I would have taken this the other day. And we're going to get to pound CAD in just a minute. And I'm still crying about that one. Sucks to be right and miss it by one day. I was off and driving and coming back from vacation, and I didn't get to get back in it. I missed it, and it's up a lot. We're going to take a look at that in a minute. I was trying to get into pound CAD, but also Euro CAD. Euro CAD actually respected levels a little better. This was an easy decision. We broke through every one of these lows, and it was way out of line as far as its range. It was so far out, and then you get the big rubber band recovery. This is just useless. There's really no reason to even look at upside stuff on some of this sometimes when they're this far down. Distance relative to time is an important concept. And the CAD stuff, especially pound CAD, is one we're going to get to in a second. But you see what's happening here. This is where you would have taken your profit. You would have run it from here to here and probably taken profit. It's 190 pips. It's a great run in a couple days. And if you really wanted to feel froggy, you would still be holding on to it, looking for a little higher. It's probably going to end up a little higher up here. But at the moment, this is probably just not the best trade. It's not really a good short because it is still so low in structure. Coming off of a lower low, that there's potentially a significant amount of retracement still to go. We may only be like halfway through the move, so you want to be careful shorting this. We'll watch it. We're going to watch this situation. Plus the euro's already been down a lot, and the euro's likely to gain. Oil has been up a lot, so it's likely to retrace back down. So you're going to have a weaker CAD and a stronger euro at the same time. You don't want to be shorting this. Probably not a good idea. Yeah, so pound CAD. If group people remember, we were in this back here trying to get long on this and got knocked out of it, and now it's gone. And figured that we were waiting for that kind of, if that was going to happen. You get that flat consolidation, then you get the dippy do and run, and the old bump and run shark fin move. So I mean, this is why I harped on this. I was preaching the gospel of pound CAD for quite a while because of this. Like, everybody remembers me talking about this. I mean, and this is why we haven't even started yet. And I was driving back from vacation. The one day that I wasn't here during session, and it's gone. So yeah, I needed to get to here to pass that challenge on that one trade. And, man, yeah, that was all that was needed right there. I'm not gonna mess with that. That doesn't need to be there. There's just really infinity to the upside. Infinity. You would still be in this and just waiting. I was hoping it was going to pull back. It just hasn't done it. I mean, this was so far out of bounds. Even this had blown its monthly range out so far that it was just funny. It was like a comedy show. Pound CAD. I kept saying pound CAD, pound CAD, pound CAD. And there it goes, lifting off the low. It's gone now. It's gone. You know, we were in it long here. And it's gone. Yeah, just that Wednesday. It was Wednesday that everything hit. You know, we were in it Monday and Tuesday morning down in here trying to figure it out. Where was the low going to be? And we got in it and it would go. I was up like 2% at one point and it came back and took me out. And then Wednesday I needed to get back in and missed it. And it just absolutely nailed it on the level. I can't believe it. Honestly, still can't believe it. How close we got. That would have long been 10% by now. I had 6 lots on it. Yeah, I was trying to get back in. So there it goes. 200 pips. And it's not even close to done yet. We'll watch this. Probably right here is going to be a thing. This whole situation right there. Might have a little more to go. But yeah, I mean, there's your pound CAD. There's your sign. Speaking of which, gold is on the low right now. Speaking of the dollar, actually. Might actually. Interesting. Hold on a second. Actually take a gold trade here. Hold on 1 second. Get all these tests off. We got a bunch of back tests going. Might need to pause for a second. Gold is down on the low right now. Low of the day. Let me see where we are here. Yeah. I might take a small blind little nibble on that. I mean, it's obvious. Anyway, we'll get back to our analysis. 1 second. If I can find it. Yeah, pause for 1 second. No, not 5 lots. Let me see. Yeah. Put a quarter lot on it with a reasonable stop. Anyway, back to what we were doing. Sorry, I had to pause for a ridiculous move there on gold there for a second. See what happens with that today. It's a good first entry here today on gold. If you're going to take a risk for a retracement today, while we're still early and we fulfilled that daily candle, might not be a terrible idea. Let's see. All right, so back to it. We were talking about pound CAD, I think. Just the pound in general has been very low. You're going to see the pattern here. Just going to see a recurring theme is all the pound pairs are beaten down. They've just been completely destroyed. just big range expansions, higher highs and lower lows. This has been brutality right here because of the dollar, on pound dollar especially. But the pound is down quite a bit. A lot of the pound pairs are at very interesting lows. I'm going to kind of wait and see what happens here. I mean, probably going to buy the low of the day on pound dollar. Let's see. Get this set up real quick, kind of trying to do both here. Yeah, if it makes it down there, we'll see what's up with this. I would hate for that to happen, but if we get that higher low W, I mean, it's going to be obvious to try to jump in down here, possibly for a day trade. You're going to see that it also magically lines up with your projected low of the day with the range tool. So that's going to be obvious that we'll watch that. Probably just going to wait on it. It's Monday. I'm going to wait for the best opportunity there. I don't know. May not make it down there, given where gold is and where the dollar is. I bet the dollar is, the dollar is up here, center mass on that daily now. Just kind of merged in here, and the group stuff is watching too. We need to watch this right here. We're center mass on that daily move, and we'll see what happens here and see if this is going to continue to close here. We still got quite a bit time left on that daily candle. How much time's left? Yeah, so we just started a new 4-hour on the dollar index here, but yeah, let's see if we keep closing back below that level. It depends on how we close today. Are we going to close back below that daily center mass? That's going to be a huge question on the dollar. So anyway, back to this. Pound dollar. I mean, I think there's a reasonable situation right here. It'll do it. Something like that. I mean, if it breaks the low, then cool. Sometimes it'll barely go and crack that low, and you could set up a double attempt there. I mean, but even something like that, I mean, is just more than reasonable. That's 1 to almost 3, 1 to 2.8. And that's that's nothing. That's ginger beer as far as a move is concerned. That's nothing. Like, there's plenty more juice on that. You can be ultra patient and see if it'll break the low first. Sometimes that'll, just barely screw everybody and then rip it back up. That may be a thing. We'll watch that. Now we'll see what happens when it gets down here on the low. We'll see where the dollar is. That's going to be interesting right there. If it makes it that far, honestly, if it makes it that far. Pound yen. Good rejection here. This is a lower time frame level. Yeah, I mean, this will look different on higher time frames. Will be this whole situation down here. Be watching down there, maybe see how things line up. ATR, I don't need that on there. Yeah, so right now the yen we already know is very low. I would probably watch for some weakness here in pound yen. Probably don't want to be buying this right now. The yen is at an all-time low. Keep that in mind. And things like to explode off of all-time lows on lower lows. Every time it makes a lower low, you're running a huge risk being long on pound yen right here. So just keep that in mind. Pound yen may be one to just stay away from. The pound and the yen are likely to be strong at the same time over the next little while. Pound Aussie, this was just money off of Friday. Like I said, I hit target. I kind of wish I would have stayed in it because it stayed up. It did pull back a little bit, but stayed up. It's on the way. This is on the way up. If this would come back a little bit, we're going to take a look at this on intraday time frames. Pound Kiwi is really the one. This was just absolute murder money. I mean, nothing you can do here but let it go. God, it's crazy. If I would have left this stuff on, I had 5 lots on this on Friday. I needed to get just above this high, was 10% for this one trade. And it wouldn't have needed to go that far because I was also in pound Aussie. and I think Euro Kiwi too. I remember it was just above that high. I needed to get a little more than this consolidation, and just above that high was the 10% mark for one trade. So, this is definitely within reason for that to happen this week. I don't need that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's within a weekly range for that to happen. It's crazy. I could have beaten the whole thing in one trade if I'd have just left this on Friday, but I had to walk away from it. I had something important that I had to do. I couldn't walk away. I had to walk away from the computer. Man, crazy. Had it again on Friday. Had 5 lots on it. Jesus, man. And had to walk away from it. It was right here on this challenge right there. Had 5 lots on the bottom and had to walk away from it. Still took a $660 profit. Everything hit. That's all the stuff from Friday. Everything we were in from Friday, everything hit. And started a do challenge there. If I'd have left that stupid 5 lot trade on, it would have been rocking by now. That's for sure. I needed to get to about right there to do the 10% just on that one trade. And then all the yen stuff, it was 100% on Friday. Everything went. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trades. Everything went 100%. See, anyway, that was money. Haven't taken anything today on this account. Watching gold here. I'm actually seriously considering messing with gold on this. We'll get back to our analysis in a second, but we got a really dumb level here on gold that's just tempting. Would let this candle close. If it pulls back a little bit and tries to hammer something, doesn't break the low, probably want to be long on this. The dollar's in an interesting spot. So yeah. But yeah, pound Kiwi. I mean, we just crushed it on Friday. Killed it. Just, man, really wish I could have gotten in that pound CAD last week, because that was the move. So when I waited for a week for that, just waited and waited and waited and waited, and then missed it because I couldn't be in front of the computer. Aussie dollar. Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of those that's going to be a big long coming up. The only issue is the Aussie has been strong for a while, and it's kind of been weakening. But again, relative to the dollar, this is going to be important with the dollar. Just remember where the dollar is. We have a historic move in the dollar, basically. Up 12 weeks in a row. Careful with that. Aussie yen, this was just absolute money here. Just money from Friday. You would still be into this short. I remember we took a basket on the yen. This you would still probably be in running this down. Good game. Nothing to say. I'm actually not in this trade anymore, but we'll monitor it. Maybe some people still in that. And the yen basket, Aussie CAD, another one, just perfect rejection. I mean, nothing to do there. Just wait for it to retest. Maybe it's probably going to end up lower. I think it's going to be the Aussie though. The Australian dollar is likely to be a little weaker. It's kind of what I was just alluding to. Interesting rejection there. Yeah, big density right there. Okay, so Aussie Swiss. I was watching this for a couple weeks ago. Man, it's another one that I just missed. I was trying to get into and missed, and now it's gone. Just completely gone. 300 pips to the upside. We were trying to catch this before that retracement happened right there. We were getting into it down here and finally caught it, but got out too early. So there it goes. That's gone. However, the Aussie is probably going to be a little bit weaker here. So we're really interested in something like pound Aussie long. We're already blowing through all of this. Yeah, I mean, going to be a thing here. You got an inflection point right here. We had a consolidation, then we moved up to another consolidation. There's going to be this inflection point right here. It's probably, it's going to slow down. We'll come back to that. It's not really much to do on that one right this second, unless you really wanted to take an aggressive long on Aussie Swiss for a day trade. CAD yen. This is another one. Didn't have this one marked, but we were short off the high. I mean, this was money. We were short off the high on Friday. This was part of the basket. CAD yen. Almost positive. Yeah. CAD yen short 111040. 111040 was the short. 1104 right there. That was the play. So yeah, not really a whole lot to do there at the moment. Let's see. I mean, we're kind of hitting profit target. First profit target, you would probably be looking. I mean, this is again is like an all-time high. Like I forget what it was. Might as well be. Yeah, I think it was the all-time high. A couple of these yen pairs are at all-time highs. I know Swiss yen was recently at an all-time high. Euro yen, I think, was like a 27-year high, which might as well be all-time high in recent markets. Modern algorithmically controlled markets, it is. So, big run there, just nailed it. We keep catching this stupid thing. We keep catching this. CAD yen, every time we keep catching it short. We keep catching it short. And stupid thing keeps going and breaking the high. We get out of it and take profit, and then it just still goes. Like, we can't catch the big run here. But, again, every time this makes a new high, it gets more and more interesting. I would probably wait for this to break the low. If I was still in this, I would hold it. Moving on. Swiss yen was another one of those, except the Swiss was in a weird place. This was a couple weeks ago on an all-time high, and we were shorting this up here. However, yeah, I mean, we're just money here on our levels. Nothing really to do. We're in the middle of it right now. I don't really trade this one too much, but this one can be high volatility, actually. Swiss yen can actually be very high volatility. It's kind of interesting sometimes. It's more than you think. This one moves, pips wise, like a pound pair does, like 100 and something pips a day, a lot of times. So we watch this one a lot, especially with the moves on the yen lately. Swiss yen can be more volatile than you think, even though it's a Swiss pair. So yeah. Anywho, moves better than pound Swiss. I know that pound Swiss can be a turd, but yeah, right in the middle of the range. We'll see if it gets up higher. Maybe we'll catch a little day trade short there or something. S&P. Let's move on to the equities market. Not surprising. This is no big surprise that we've shifted off the high here. Lower highs. We're coming off the high of the cycle. We ran up, and lower high, down. We're coming back into some heavy density. We're just not there yet. Probably be careful going mega long here. You probably want to be careful with that. I know day trading is a thing. Depends on what you're looking at, but right now, probably not the best idea to be buying this yet. If you're going to be doing any of that, you'll probably wait for it to break the low, to be honest. Unless you're just in and out scalping this thing. It's contracting at the moment. To do the traditional charting thing, which I don't mess with anymore, you're contracting. You have a range contraction. You have lower highs and higher lows. You have progressively reduced volatility over time. Progressively reduced spread between the two components of the pair, the S&P 500 versus the US dollar, basically. Whatever on this. It's kind of nothing at the moment. I could see a bounce here for if you're looking at like a 1 minute chart or something, maybe you get a bounce here over the next hour or two. Who knows? Kind of not really much to say here on that. The Dow, little bit different structure, kind of the same situation though overall, coming off the high, lower high. The Nasdaq was in a little bit different position, but yeah, this already actually broke some lows back here, a structural low. Yeah, I mean, this may be a little different. Sometimes the Dow will run counter to other indices, especially the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq and the Dow often run opposite directions within an intraday time frame. So we'll watch that situation. I don't know what I just did. Yeah, at the moment it's just kind of down on the low. We've been down quite a bit. It's not something you don't want to sell the bottom here. You don't want to sell into a bunch of buyers after a big rundown. It's just simple logic. Doesn't have to be complicated. The risk management is the complicated part of trading. Honestly, the analysis isn't the hard part. It's the risk management. Let's see how we're doing on our gold trade here. 1832.46. 1 second. Let's pause. Look at the Nasdaq real quick. On, so we can monitor it. But I mean, I pretty much know what I did. She gone. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll target the low of the opening range. First target, top of the opening range. We'll see. See what happens if this is going to slow down. This is probably close. It was a good entry, at least. We'll see what happens with it. If this chills here, starts putting in higher lows and runs back up, we'll come back to that. Just wanted to see where we were. First trade of the week. NASDAQ dumping. Getting a pump in the dollar, I think is what it is. Yeah, the dollar's running up. So, yeah, we got a strong dollar this morning, which is not super surprising given what it's doing. We're trying to figure out. I was assuming that we were going to run up a little bit. That's okay. We'll see if it breaks the high or not. Moving on, NASDAQ, awesome entry last week. Just nailed it. You'd still be long, really. Still be long, looking for this to run up to here. Nothing really to do at the moment. We got a range here. Buyers on the bottom, sellers on the top. See a range consolidation. Probably call it this. And see what's happening here. And we're going to stay out of the middle. We don't want to mess with it in the density. Probably no trade there. As it pops down, you could be aggressive. You could be aggressive on a reversal just within the range and just trade the range. Skip that. Oil came down finally. This is another one that's been on a rampage, just up, over and over and over every day, every week to the upside. And this finally took a breather. At the moment, yeah, I mean, it's kind of no decision. You get right in between a swing high and a swing low. We're right in the middle of the move. Structurally, we are. And sometimes that can be dangerous because you have equal opportunity to get stopped out both ways. There's no disproportionate risk versus reward here to the upside or to the downside, depending on what your strategy is. And I know these are 4-hour candles, but we're just looking at structure. What's the structural move here that's likely to happen? What directional bias can we gain from what's going on here? And there's probably not much at the moment. It's already been down a little bit, so it makes sense for it to pull back up. This very well just may be in this like kind of range like this and then go break the low. That's pretty typical stuff for it to come off of a high like this, then go into a consolidation, then go finish it out. Second leg of the move. It wouldn't surprise me. Just keep that in mind. It wouldn't surprise me. It's definitely within range to do it. It's within range to retest the high too. So, like I said, no disproportionate risk versus reward here. That can be a pause and just wait and see what happens. Come on, gold. You turd burglar. Come on. Still waiting for that short that never happened. So can't grab that without widening out here. Yeah. What you gonna do? What you gonna do down here on the lows? Gonna do? You gonna sell the low? Or are you gonna buy the low? You gonna sell the bottom? Or are you gonna buy the bottom? What you gonna do? Let's take a look at this. And the last place your buyers were correct in the move and have not been taken out. Fast forward, just so magically happened to be also at your projected low of the day. Statistically, it was the low of the day. Heavy confluence there. Got demand and your statistical low of the day for gold. And that's why we struck on that one. Easy decision. Sometimes the decision is very easy and the risk management is not so easy. What position size do you get here relative to other positions that you may have on? What is the right amount of risk to place on something like that? If it goes down and breaks the low, then whatever, it didn't work out. But something like this, just running it up for the week, you're looking at a 1 to 8. Just if there is an average size weekly candle and this was the low and we run up for the rest of the week after a mega dump just to retest higher, even if it makes a lower high, an average size weekly candle is a 1 to 8 from here. It's a no-brainer. But if you know that, if you can see that, it changes the way you see the market. So let's see what happens. Come on, gold. Come on, quarter lot for the win. I'm going to send a quarter lot and do 5 times as much profit as people putting 5 lots on. Let the distance do the work. Work smarter, not harder. You don't have to beat it with a club into submission. Use a scalpel and let the knife do the cutting. Let the distance do the work. Come on, dollar. Same outcome, multiples less risk. Let's see. Come on, dollar. But this line doesn't really mean anything. It's just that center mass on the daily. Yeah, we're pushing our high of the day already here. Interesting. Yeah, we'll come back to this, on the dollar. The dollar is being ridiculous right now. So what is our general consensus here? On our 4-hour sweep, let's get back here and just see, what information did we gain here? The dollar needs its urine checked for illicit substances. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about this. It's she gone. Just gonna wait and see. This made sense though, looking at how that weekly candle closed. We talked about this on Friday. How the weekly candle closed with that wick on the top. It closed bullish, and this is what we were trying to see. Are we going to close bearish with a big bearish pin bar? Because on Friday, this looked like it was running down a little bit, and it popped back up at the end of the day. So, we closed a bullish candle with a kind of a wick on the top. That stuff tends to like to go retest that and maybe barely break that. If we barely break that high, gonna just try it again on the dollar stuff. I hate to say it. It's just, what else do you do? I remember looking at this being like, oh my God, we're 7 weeks in a row to the upside. And now we're at the 12th week. This has been going on for a while. The saga of the dollar. I remember, oh my God, we're 7 weeks to the upside. I remember we broke this high right here. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like range expansion. It's like brutal run on the dollar. And now it's just sitting back, like watching, like, when is it going to quit? Like, what is going on? What is it? Yeah, I think it's just a combination of factors. Very weak euro, very weak yen as part of it. There are some other factors. But, somewhere up here, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is going to sell off. It's hard to know at the moment because it's, we're only a couple hours into our weekly candle. But this kind of price action right here, I mean, it's actually starting to kind of look like a cycle high. I mean, this is exactly kind of the thing that happens. You get a big bearish candle, get a big wick, big hammer in the middle, it pulls this kind of situation up here, and then starts to do that. You'll see it everywhere. Very common, for that kind of thing to happen at a top or at least some kind of a, corrective right before a corrective move. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm going to watch it until on the high. There's nothing to do. I mean, the power of the almighty dollar. I mean, shock and awe. The world is in awe of the dollar's mighty power. The brick says what? Okay. Meanwhile, dollar just went on a 12-week run to the upside to make a point. Just to make a point. I guess. I mean, probably has something to do with it. So we'll watch that. Gold, super interesting. I'd really want it down here on the low, but I mean, you're talking about just right back at 1800. We've been at 1800 for a while. This 1800 equilibrium has been it on gold, and we're just right back into it. As far as a day trade is concerned, you're looking for a bounce maybe, but eventually this is going to put in a green candle. These are daily candles, but we're coming back into density here. It's had a rough run, and the dollar's been strong for 12 weeks in a row. So strong dollar, weak gold. I mean, it's just common stuff. Do you try it here is the big question. We'll see. Running at a little bit lower risk, but sometimes you nail it. Sometimes you get it, and easy day, hopefully. But what did we learn overall? Not really a whole lot. I mean, we got some levels worked out. The dollar is kind of screwy. We're waiting to see if it's going to retest the high. This is going to be a big driver of the market. The yen is at an all-time low. This is important, I think, this week, early, right now. Some kind of a retracement on the yen, even if it's a little one. We're going to be looking for some shorts against yen pairs, probably. I think it's just obvious. Maybe not necessarily this hour, but on some pullbacks. Try to sell into some green candles on yen stuff. Not really much there on Euro Aussie. Euro Kiwi was, that came off of last week. If this would pull back a little bit, there's probably going to be a significant retracement here. This is something I would watch. Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi, Euro CAD as well. Hopefully the CAD is not gone. Haven't really looked at what news we have this week. That's a whole nother thing. Maybe we'll take a quick second to do that in just a minute. Pound CAD. Bummed about this, man. This one's going to give me indigestion. Going to give me heartburn on this, trying to get into this on Monday and Tuesday, knowing that the big retracement was coming, and just missed it while I was driving. Just missed the next level down. Got stopped out and then just missed it the second time, which was right. We were right in a big way on this. We just couldn't mess with it. Hopefully somebody caught it. Hopefully somebody's still in it, because this is still money. Pound CAD, if this would pull back a little bit, I'm going to be looking to get into this. This is an abnormally large dump here in the amount of time that it happened. It's very likely that this is going to retrace back up at least a little bit more. So I'm going to try to get into this. Pound dollar is obvious. We're waiting on that. Yeah, just waiting on pound dollar to get to the low. Nothing really to do there. Wait until it gets back into this density and see if it makes a higher low on the low of the day. I'd say it's pretty likely at this point that it's going to end up down there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll see though. I mean, we're on the hash now. We'll see. If it makes it down to there, I'll take one. As far as what information we gleaned from this, if we get pullbacks on the pound, I think there's going to be some longs on the pound that are going to be good. Just not pound yen. I would stay away from pound yen long this week personally because of the correlation between the yen and the pound. It's just not the best thing to trade. I don't know why people do that all the time, but it's not the best. It's not the best pairing to trade. It's just not the way that the correlations work out. There are other things that are better, but not all the time. Sometimes pound yen can be set up the right way. Most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's a very choppy thing to trade. Yeah, it's just probably not a good idea to go long on that. Likely to have strength in the pound and the yen at the same time. That's going to manifest as chop on the chart. Low volatility, chop. Pound Aussie. This is another one, like every time, if for some reason it does break the low, going to be in it to win it. Waiting to see if it's going to crack that swing low first. I think it already did. It tested it, but yeah, this was good on Friday because of where it was. If for some reason this makes a new low, I'll take it. I'm not going to short it here. Kind of nothing really to do there. Just going over everything one more time. Pound Kiwi was money. I wish I was still in that 5-lot trade. It was perfect. Wish I was still in it. Nothing to do here. Watch for longs, basically. The New Zealand dollar and the Australian dollar have been strong and are likely to get a little bit weaker on a retracement kind of situation. And as that weakness comes in, pound Kiwi and pound Aussie are likely to gain. Euro Aussie and Euro Kiwi are also likely to gain for the same reason. We talked about this Aussie weakness. This stuff makes sense for it to come a little bit lower. Nothing really to do there. It's funny, I had an alert here that never got hit to take a trade here on Friday. I don't need that anymore. Let me nuke that. Yeah, so just starting the week, we're gonna get it. Gonna figure this out. We'll drill down into lower time frames and see what we can do for day trades here. Yeah, the yen stuff is great on Friday. Expect more weakness in the Aussie and the Kiwi. Aussie CAD, I mean, this is another one. This is probably just going to end up pulling back. I mean, this is going to end up something like that. Pretty high probability that's going to end up pulling back a little bit. Aussie Swiss, not messing with it here. The bounce makes sense, but kind of no trade. CAD, definitely watching this because of oil. Oil has decided to pull back a little bit. There's a positive correlation between the Canadian dollar and oil. Because of the way that the Canadian dollar is valued in barrels of oil. It's a fundamental thing. It is a fact of the market. So whichever way oil is going, that's the way that the Canadian dollar is going to go in general. There are some other factors, but in general, that's how it works. Swiss yen, this actually looks, it's bullish. You might want to be careful buying into this here because sometimes you'll get, this like 2 or 3 candle pullback and it'll come back a little more and then go. Kind of looks like it's bullish to me. I mean, I think there's a pretty good chance that breaks the high. The question is, what is your risk management going to be? How do you get in it without, getting stopped out if for some reason it does pull back all the way? But this 4-hour candle here, Swiss yen doesn't look bad. Already kind of missed the entry, but depending on what your strategy is, there's a pretty good chance that this is going to pop just a little bit more. Big bullish candle, higher highs, higher lows. It's pulling back a little bit. And while that's pulling back, that may be the time to get into it, to run it up and break the high. That may be something right there. Swiss yen, we'll watch that. We'll take a look at it on lower time frames. Try to figure out where our entry is going to be. Swiss yen can actually be good. It's an off pair that not a lot of people trade, but it can have very good volatility and very good movement because of the correlation between the yen and the Swiss there. When it breaks hard. So, yeah, We'll see what's up with that. There's a possibility there. I think the S&P, we talked about this, messy right now. Just doesn't look good. You probably don't want to buy into it unless you're trading like a 1 minute chart or something. We'll watch this. I would expect for this low to break, just to go over this again. We'll see what happens here. It doesn't look great. Careful with crypto. US equities just doesn't look great right now. Bitcoin's been up. It's a perfect opportunity to sell into retail. Just wreck everybody for whale dumps to happen. We'll see if that happens. Yeah, this just doesn't look good on the Dow. It's not something I would be willing to short. You don't want to sell the bottom, basically. You know, we're back on what could be considered the bottom of a range, and we've already broken some lows. Just not a good idea to sell it. Just to go over it, triple check everything. Yeah, NASDAQ, a little bit different structure. Probably be looking for a long on the NASDAQ if it would pull back a little bit. It moves differently. You know, tech moves differently than industrials. It's just true. They tend to run counter to each other on shorter term time frames, and the same basically positively correlated on larger time frames. Yeah, oil pullback makes sense. It's not a short yet, but it may have moved a little bit for a long. Just, yeah, right in the middle. Talked about that. Yeah, so gold. Come on, gold bounce for the day trade here. Can we get a green candle, please? Blue in this case. Go Gators, orange and blue. Can we get something, please? Yeah, can we get anything? Just high or low and get something like that. I'd be totally cool with that. Just a little bit of something on it. Just a little bit with a potential to run back up to the weekly. And this is the important thing here. Your weekly projected high also happens to be up there in that supply, right on the money, pretty much. So statistically, your weekly high would be up here. Also, some confluence with a 4-hour supply level. Just makes sense. It's a no-brainer. So we're going to look to run that, hopefully. Possibly send a quarter lot on a fantastic voyage. So that's a possibility. If it breaks the low, obviously we'll be watching that. It's not super strong here, to be honest. I would consider this weak, but definitely interesting because of where it is, where we are in price. It's not like this is, come down just a little bit. Like this is a brutal sell-off. And they tend to have brutal retracements. This is not high. It's not high. It's not. This is way, 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 way down. We're down 12% off the high on gold. And we've run through everything there is to run. All of this low volume pump right here. We ran through all of it. And we're back into a density in the market. We're back at 1800. It's a meme at this point. 1800 is a meme on gold. Gold just trades around an 1800 equilibrium for the past couple of years. It has. It's a meme. Like we talk about it all the time. Gold's back at 1800. There's an 1800 equilibrium here and we're just back at it. But as of today, what's the probability that after this amount of wreckage, there's at least one bullish candle coming? You know what I'm saying? So if you manage your risk the right way, this is an easy decision. Just to throw a bone there. And we'll watch and see what's up with the dollar. We want to see how we close today. We're obviously running up here, which is annoying. Because it's already dead. Reminds me of the Simpsons meme where Milhouse said he's already dead. They're beating him up. And he's like, he's already dead. Like, God, all this stuff like gold, euro dollar, pound dollar. Some of these things are so far down, and everything else that it affects. We've got these one-way moves in the market. It's been a problem lately, honestly. This has been an issue with these one-way moves. Um, we're at that point in the cycle where people are really just out of the trend at this point. People are taking profit, and everybody's, starting to buy the top and into the bigger time frame sellers. The trend is kind of over at this point. We're up for 12 weeks straight. There's a point where it just becomes where it's not a good decision to continue to buy into something that's overburnt. It's just burnt toast. There's a point where it's like, man, it's just not a good decision. And whether or not it comes back down isn't the point. It hasn't retraced yet, but it's not a smart thing to do to continue to buy into the top, depending on what your strategy is. If you're in and out, with tight stops, that's a different story. I'm not talking about the 1 minute chart here. We're talking about the structural move of things. What is our directional bias? Which way are we actually moving here? So there's a point here where you got to say, look, it's just too high. It's too high to keep buying into it. It depends on your strategy. Right now, what do? Do you buy this? Do you buy it at the top of a big full candle after 2 days of upside, retesting a high, struggling? Is that a good idea? And then that really comes down to, what's your strategy? What are you looking to do? Yeah, we got money coming all over the place. Yeah, I don't know. We'll watch this. We're really approaching the high of the day already. It's early for the dollar. I'm curious to see if it's going to come back and close below that daily center mass. We'll keep an eye on this stuff. As far as the macro analysis, is really not much to say. Not much really changed. It's the dollar show right now. What's going on? There's some other stuff. The yen. Watch the yen. Gold for a retracement. Eventually, if the dollar will chill, gold is going to be huge. Keep trying to catch it, and it just keeps dumping. Uncertainty on equities, not looking very good. Yeah, it's the dollar show right now. I think the yen's going to be the silent winner here this week again. I would definitely watch the yen index or yen pairs, just yen pairs, because the yen as a currency index is likely to gain, coming off that all-time low basically, and it's looking a little better here. It's not something you probably want to jump into right this second because we've already been up a lot. But this week, watching for shorts on yen pairs may be something that kind of puts points on the board. Just easy points on the board. That could be a thing. We'll watch that. Yeah, I don't know. Not really much to say. Everybody have a good trading week, and we'll continue this on as we go through.